What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my channel Money Moves with Kay. I'm Kay, and today we're going to talk about how to find the owners of distressed properties for free, okay? If that's something that you're interested in, please stay tuned for the video. Before we get started in the video, I really want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. You guys have been showing a ton of support, and that keeps me going. That keeps me pumping out this important, vital, valuable information to you guys to get started in the real estate industry. So just again, thank you so very much. Make sure you stay towards the end of the video. I'll provide some of my best tips, the things that I am pretty good at, which is you have to wait. So make sure you stick around towards the end of the video to kind of find out what that is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So the very first thing I would suggest that you do is go and put the property address that you found, right, while you're driving for dollars. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, go to part 1 and part 2 of how to find distressed properties in the link below. It's a prior video that I did, 2 videos that I did on how to find these properties. So let's skip ahead into this video. So you're driving for dollars and you go down a dead-end street. My followers and my subscribers know exactly what I'm talking about going down a dead-end street. But let's say you go down a dead-end street and you spot a distressed property. You find out what the address is, and once you get the address, when you go back home or whatever, you can do it on the spot as well, but you plug that address into the tax assessors or the county assessors. And the county assessors basically is a reporting system that every county uses. Literally every county nationwide uses this. And you plug the address in, they will tell you the owner's name, their address, also when the property was purchased, tax information. Sometimes they give you comps, and also sometimes they give you pictures. Now you know you've hit the jackpot, not all the time, and I'll explain. But you know you've hit the jackpot if the owner's address is different from the actual property that you found, the distressed property that you found. And the reason why I say not always you've hit the jackpot is because sometimes, again, those particular owners rent out that property. But if you've driven by the property and you literally see that it's boarded up, or the roof is caved in, or those telltale signs that nobody's there, that is a good indicator to you that the property is empty and that the owner has no pride of ownership and thus will probably want to sell. The next thing I want you to do with that information is to look at the tax information on the property. So you can go and you can plug in that same address and through the county assessors, find out if the property has any delinquent taxes right on the spot, okay? So if the property, my suggestion is if the property has 2 years or more delinquent taxes on the property, I suggest that you reach out to the homeowner. The reason why I suggest reaching out to the homeowner if it's 2 or more years is that essentially people who have property taxes that haven't been paid for that amount of time, 1 or 2 things can happen. They pretty much may not want the property, or number 2, eventually that property will go to a tax foreclosure or a tax sale pretty much. What you can do as somebody reaching out to the owner is use that information as leverage to try to convince them to pretty much sell the property. I mean, what I would say to them is you're not using it. You live in California, for instance. The property is in Georgia, for instance, and it's abandoned. You owe taxes on it. Let me help you. Now, that's not to say that if the property only has 1 year's worth of taxes delinquent that you don't reach out to them. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that the more taxes the person owes, the more they are eager to get rid of that thing because they say, hey, I don't live there and I don't have an emotional connection to it. Again, sometimes they may have an emotional connection to it, but for the most part, it just gives you a lot of leverage to go ahead and go in for, hey, would you sell the property for this amount, which is going to be far less than market value. Once you have the owner's address, I highly suggest that you actually reach out to them. So how would you reach out to them with their address? So that leads me to my second way to find owners of these distressed properties, which is to send them a letter. So once you have a letter, and I suggest actually that I have a name on the back because I'm sending this letter. Once you have the letter, I actually suggest that you get the, it's like invitation envelopes. They're very small. They come in multiple colors, okay? So I send these letters. They're very catchy. If I received, as a homeowner, if I received an orange letter in the mail, I'm gonna read it, right? So you're gonna send them a letter to say, hey, I'm interested in the property at 123 Main Street. Are you interested in selling the property? Here's my name, my number, etc. Okay? And Around the holidays, I get extremely creative and crafty, and I actually, let me show you a picture or show you how these look. Around Christmas time, these come in handy. So this is a Christmas card. And the Christmas card, you might say, why are you using a Christmas card? A Christmas card is expected during the holidays, right? And even these little invitation envelopes are, when I open it, I'm expecting like an invitation or something from somebody I know, which means that I'm gonna open it, right? So once I get a Christmas card and I open it and it reads, would you like to sell your home for cash? And I'm like, man, who is this? And it kind of gets me a treat as a homeowner to say, well, let me reach out to them, especially if I want to sell. Please don't be afraid or think that this particular method is ancient. It really does work and it grabs the homeowner's attention. That is your biggest goal, right? I've seen people use FedEx envelopes, USPS envelopes, anything that'll grab someone's attention and say, hey, open me. And if I get one of these as a homeowner, again, yellow, orange, I'm opening it because I don't want to miss anything that would jeopardize my property. So that grabs their attention and that will get a bite from, hopefully, a potential bite from the homeowner saying, yes, I would love to sell my property. If you've received any value in the video, go ahead and like, comment, and share. It allows this video to get out to a wider audience so that more people can get this information, and we're all lifetime learners. So my goal is to help you get into real estate and make money moves. So thank you so much. Now back to the video. The third way to find a homeowner of a distressed property for free is to actually use a free people search software. So a lot of times there are softwares online that you can use, and because you have the owner's name, you can plug in their name into the people search software and they'll tell you their number. Now, it's free, so it's going to be hit or miss, which means that you may get the number and you may get it wrong, right? So it's still worth the opportunity or a chance to reach out to that person. I will say this here. I recently used one of the free people search softwares to find the homeowner of the property right next to ours because we're building a new construction. And they actually had a tenant there, and their tenant had their car on our land or parked on the street, but it was across our boundaries. And I needed to get in contact with the owner. I tried to get in contact with the renter by being at the property and no one was ever home. So I reached out to the owner via one of the free people search softwares, which I use True People Search, by the way. So once I reached out to them, they said, okay, yeah, sure, we'll have a move-in. And we were chit-chatting about, what's going on with the construction of the property. But that kind of goes to show you that it is hit or miss. I've had plenty of opportunities where it didn't work at all. And I'm like, can I speak to John? And like, who is this? This is not John. So it's hit or miss. In this particular situation, you kind of get what you don't pay for. There are paid services that I have also used as well, but I'll save that for a later video. The fourth way to find homeowners of these distressed properties is to use social media. Yes, social media does work. A lot of the older generation is kind of sketchy about it, but they will respond to you on Facebook because they do have a Facebook. The younger crowd, maybe not so much, but in general, you will be dealing with folks who are a little bit more seasoned, we'll say that word, and are a little bit older, right? So they have the homes, they have the money to actually purchase the homes. Not to say the younger folks don't, but a lot of times you're talking to people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That's the highest I've gone. I've talked to somebody in their 80s. And most of the time, not all the time, they're on Facebook. And I've reached out via message on Facebook to say, hey, who I am and how can I work a deal with this property, right? I will tell you this. My second deal I've ever wholesaled, I reached out to the gentleman on Facebook, and that property made me well over $25,000. And the reason why it made me more than $25,000 is because I actually wholesaled the property twice. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother video. After I reached out to the gentleman on Facebook, he actually didn't ask many questions. He just kind of said, okay, how can we work up a deal? Because again, he was an absentee owner. He was in, I want to say, Ohio. The property was in North Carolina, and the property was a burn property. He pretty much did not want anything to do with the property. So I was like, okay. He kept saying that the property was a tear down while I was in Germany. So this was my second deal. I was still in Germany when I did this particular deal. And I had my boots on ground, my person who was finding these properties for me, look at the property, take pictures, send them back to me. And I was like, yeah, it's burned. Certain aspects of the property was burned. However, it's still in pretty good condition. And sure enough, his insurance pretty much paid off the entire property. and he was left to just sell the property or figure out what to do from there. And that's what he did. So we wholesaled that property, and everybody was a winner in that situation. I've also wholesaled properties and gotten into contact with folks through LinkedIn. That's an excellent way to get in contact with professional folks. And sometimes everybody's really on LinkedIn who is trying to look for a job, or in general just to try to keep their profile updated to be more marketable in the event that they don't want to work at their job any longer. So reaching out on LinkedIn, that sparked, when we got back to the North Carolina area from the States, that sparked, I don't know what deal that was for me, what number deal that was for me, but I reached out to a gentleman. He had a 3-for-1 deal. So I was able to get 3 properties for the price of 1, and I reached out to him on LinkedIn. The main takeaway I want you to take from this information is to always present yourself in a professional manner, and make sure that your profile picture, your profile in general, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you are on social media, is presentable as well. Because what are they going to do? After you reach out to them, they're going to click your profile and check out who you are, what are you about, what do you have on your profile to make you look legitimate, and why would they want to talk to you? More importantly, why would they want to sell their home to you? If you've made it to this point in the video, first of all, thank you so very much. And I'll go ahead and disclose the bonus information that I promised you early in the video. So the one thing that I'm I do very well at is building a rapport. Now, I not only build a good rapport with the seller, but I also build a good rapport with the seller of that particular property's neighbors. So one of the things I want to give to you is to, when you're driving for dollars and you want to stop, get out of the property and kind of, inspect the property, I highly suggest to you to go ahead and look around. If you see a older neighbor in the neighborhood, whether it be adjacent, beside, behind, or whatever the case may be, go ahead and speak to those neighbors. Get more information about the property. You may be surprised of what that particular person knows. And the reason why I target someone who's a little bit older is because they know everything in this neighborhood. They have probably been there a long time, and they know the ins and outs of the neighborhood, and you might get in luck or find some luck in knowing that that particular neighbor has the person's number directly. So a lot of times these people are home all day because they are retired themselves. So they may have been asked by the property owner to, hey, keep an eye on my property. If anything, you see anything kind of crazy, let me know, give me a call. So you might find some luck in talking to that neighbor and getting the information directly. Now, this part is the best part. This is the most important part. Once you identify someone in the neighborhood that you are talking to that is an older person, make sure that you identify their love language. Why am I saying that? Why does that matter here? I will say that most older people, their love language is time. Not all of them. Some are gifts, some are other things, acts of service. But have you ever considered, or have you ever came in contact with or talked to an older relative, grandma, grandpa, or someone like that? They just want to spend time with you. So what I typically do, or what I've done in the past, is I will go and spend time with that person. I may also go and take some tea to that person. I may also ask, do you need anything from me? Do you need your grass cut? I'm not gonna cut it, but I can get somebody to cut it. I've done that in the past as well, to build a community, to build trust, so that they can say, okay, I don't mind giving you information. I don't mind telling you if the owner was here 3 weeks ago and I told him, I gave him your card when I was here. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want to hear, because you're building a rapport and you're building a relationship with someone who is a third party outside of the homeowner. That's the end of my video. Thank you so very much for sticking around to this point. I really appreciate it. And until next time, guys, you stay blessed. Peace.